Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to another City Skylines breakdown video of the airport DLC. Quick disclaimer: after publishing the last episode, or last video, I should say, there was a comment that had popped up the on the actual video that I want to quickly address. The comment being, let's see. Comment is, but I didn't actually do a review of the dev diary. I only did a review of the actual tutorial. That is a mistake on my part. I had assumed falsely, so I do apologize for any confusion that had happened if you did watch the last episode. I did leave a link following that comment being posted, and I just wanted to quickly touch base this here. In the first dev diary, which I will go and be displaying on screen here momentarily, essentially everything that was covered in the tutorial was also covered in the dev diary. If you don't know where to find the dev diaries, it's rather simple. You can just take a look at the Steam store page or take a look inside your Steam library if you do own the game, and it shows up in the recent history. So if I just go go ahead and take a look here, you can see I am looking up at my Steam browser. Activate my camera real quick. Sorry about that. This is the dev diary from the last video. This isn't the dev diary for this video. So keep in mind that everything that is displayed here is not for the stuff that will be included. We will also be watching the tutorial that is accompanying today's dev diary. But as a quick touch basis, essentially the dev diary went into detail to the same length that the tutorial does. The tutorial went into detail regarding how to go ahead and set up your airport district and some, of course, key functions needed. Now, one of the things that was not touched on in the tutorial was the fact that there is the policies tab. It didn't actually go into detail, which I am hoping, I haven't actually looked at the video, but I am hoping that it goes into detail either in today's video or in tomorrow or in Monday's video when they go ahead and mention City Airline. So, with that said, there is this tab right here. Like most public transport, you will find an airport to be a costly investment with little direct income, which actually makes a lot of sense because even though airports themselves, they are massive structures, they don't necessarily provide a lot of income for the city. They don't. They provide a lot of like tourist base passengers coming through and going to different hotels, amusement parks, and attractions within your city, bringing in all those different tourists and allowing your citizens to travel outside of your city. But they do not actually include anything of the sort that deals with providing a great deal of income. That's not the goal of having this of a city airport. Um, it doesn't even then. Instead, it brings in tourists to your city who visit attractions and commercial buildings, adding to your income, and the attractiveness of the airport also increases the city attractiveness, which helps bring in even more tourists. So this actually answers a question that a complaint really that I had in the last breakdown video. I mentioned it really doesn't make sense to have there be a attractiveness score for a city airport or for an airport district. This actually puts that into perspective. The attractiveness helps build up that idea that, hey, more tourists are going to come to your airport or come into your city if your airport is attractive enough. That is really good in their parts. The policies tab next is lets you apply area-specific policies like hotel discounts, which gives your airport a direct increase to attractiveness. Great maintenance, which adds a land value bonus to the whole airport. And car rentals, which encourages tourists to use cars but may cause increased traffic. So this also does go and lead to the fact that, one, if you do have car rental lots, which I'm guessing is another type of building that you can go and plop within the airport district itself. But even with that said, it's going to encourage the use of that. That's interesting. Increases the use of traffic. There may have to be some needs to use some like transport manager or another type of mod to go ahead and manage that, but I think that's going to be something to take a look at in a live play when we get the chance to do so. With the basics of creating an airport area covered, we come to the end of the Dev Diary. That's perfectly fine. We don't need to worry about that. Real quick, before we touch bases on the Dev Diary 2, we are going to go and watch the tutorial for Dev Diary 2, which is airport progression. This, I'm guessing, is... you guys aren't supposed to see that. Okay. This is, I'm guessing, just to go and touch bases on how does your airport progress and what do you unlock throughout the progression. That's what I'm guessing. Obviously, we'll find out more as we watch the video, which we'll go ahead and do now.
Hello everyone, my name is Phil from the YouTube channel City Planner Plays. Today I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to bring you another tutorial on the Cities Skylines Airports DLC and the new airport progression game mechanic. We'll be taking a look at this mechanic in the city of Trattoria, which has been built without any mods. Though I'm playing on a PC, this tutorial is applicable for all players, including those on console. In the previous video, we took an empty field and built Trattoria Metropolitan Airport. This is a basic airport with one runway, 2 aircraft stands, and 2 control towers attached to a small single-story airport terminal. The star above the airport's name indicates the level of the airport. Clicking on this will provide information about the airport's progression and what is needed to level up. Airports have the ability to progress 3 levels. To progress through each level, the airport must reach certain passenger count and attractiveness thresholds set for the current level. Leveling up your airport is important if you want to grow a small regional airport into a large international airport. At level 1, a number of small airport facilities are available to you, including small terminals, concourses, control towers, small aircraft stands, small hangars, small parked planes, budget airport hotels, and airport bus stations. Progressing to level 2 will afford you the ability to place a number of larger amenities, including large terminals, concourse hubs, medium aircraft stands, large hangars, luxury airport hotels, airline lounges, aviation fuel stations, medium-sized parked planes, and elevated airport metro stations. The final level, level 3, gives you the option to install large aircraft stands that can accommodate larger aircraft, large parked planes, airport train stations, cargo airports, an aviation museum, and an airline headquarters. For Trattoria Metropolitan Airport to reach the next level, the attractiveness score will need to be at least 200 and a minimum of 500 passengers will need to be served. The current attractiveness score is 160, which has been achieved because each of the control towers has an attractiveness score of 80. Adding a budget hotel will increase the score by 40 for a total score of 200, the score needed to reach the next level. In addition to attractiveness, your airport will need to meet the passenger service threshold to level up. Airport attractiveness, as well as transportation connections to tourist destinations, can increase utilization of your airport. Transit service, taxis, or setting the new car rentals policy can increase the utilization of your airport. We will cover public transportation in more detail in the next tutorial in this series. Once you've reached level 2, many of the same tactics can be used to reach level 3. However, you may want to try a couple of new things, such as the hotel discounts policy, which will give you 200 base attractiveness points. As previously mentioned, reaching level 3 allows you to place the airline headquarters building. Placing this building will allow you to found your very own airline. Founding an airline will give you the opportunity to change the appearance of your airplanes, as well as the opportunity to generate additional income from tourists through ticket sales. It will also provide you the opportunity to create a cargo airport, which will improve the efficiency of your cargo network. We will go over cargo airports in further detail in an upcoming tutorial. As you level up your airport, do not be afraid to reconfigure it. Experiment and try new things. Much like cities, airports are constantly evolving, and yours can too. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this,
that's where I'll go ahead and pause it right there. So, quick dissection of the video itself. Let's go ahead and take a double step back here. If we take a look here, 3 different levels to go ahead and explain how it works. Essentially, you'll be leveling up your airport 3 times, before actually being able to be at max level. That's perfectly fine. That's giving a little bit of a difference between the Industries DLC, Park Life, campuses, and many others that I'm not going to name off the top of my head right now. But that's something to keep in mind. Definitely a different leveling system in all. You have different types of buildings, which is granted for with any sort of um, actual level base district. Skimming through here, this right here, we then have to, for airport progression to go further, you need to have passenger count go up and your attractiveness score. I do like the idea where he mentions, let's see here. I know he mentioned this later on. It was right here. He mentioned right here where the control towers have a attractiveness score as well. I'm not too sure if that would make sense. Why would a control tower have an attractiveness score? Maybe that's just my personal opinion, but that doesn't necessarily make sense to me. But I guess that can be rectified in the future, you could say. I'm just gonna go and skim through here. Then having a budget airport or budget airport hotel. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. I'm guessing here that also attractiveness can also be implemented by using those hangars and also by using the parked airport or parked airplanes. I think that would be useful as well. It's kind of showing a little bit of a liveliness, if you will, for your airport itself. Definitely does bring a different dimension into the game when you bring in decorating your airport with the different types. Here he does mention the passenger count again, which you can go and connect your entire airport to like your actual transit sections. Tourism is going to be mostly over here, and it looks like tourists are mostly going to be utilizing like the right here is like an amusement park. Then you have a couple different like this looks like it's a what is that? Is that a zoo? I'm guessing that's a zoo. I can't really make it out just entirely, but I guess that there's also some parks and some unique buildings that are scattered throughout the city that will go ahead and increase with tourist capacity coming in from airports. So it's definitely to go and help you build up your tourist population within your city. I do like that. That actually is a really creative use of utilizing your airport because you do see that a lot with airports in metropolitan cities. Skimming through again here, we then notice that he mentions all the unlockables with public transport. You get metro connection at the airport at level 2, and you get train connection at level 3, which I guess that does actually make a good progression sense because if you take into account that in your city progression, you're going to be unlocking metros before you unlock your trains. So that kind of ties in. So I'm also thinking, just off the top of my head here, that it's potential that you can unlock an airport earlier than the actual initial airport. The initial airport you unlock at about 50,000, I want to say. Roughly 50,000. If I take a look at the City Skylines wiki here. City Skylines wiki. I think it will go and tell us about what the different, because I don't know the milestones out there on my head. Yeah. Okay, so airports. Airports unlock at the 8th milestone, which is the second to last milestone in the game. If you don't know which one that is, okay, ignore my dog. He is actually sneezing in the background. Sorry about that. But I'm assuming here that based off of what we are able to assume with this airport progression, they haven't given any details as far as when airports are unlocked in the airports DLC. I would make the assumption that they're unlocked at the same time as regular airports. But we don't have any way to prove that because they haven't actually stated anything about it. Now, he does also mention car rentals. We actually touched basis on this a little bit in the dev diary for the last episode, but I covered it at the beginning of this one. He mentioned the car rentals will go and increase. Tourists are much more likely to use cars, which may increase traffic, adds 2 simoleon income per passenger per week. That's not bad, but that, as it says, it's increasing traffic as well. Then he mentions, let's see, he mentions that public transport is going to go into more detail in the next tutorial, which is the city airline one, which we've already discussed, and that will be discussed on Monday. I will also be going into further detail on that as well. He also mentions hotel airports, increasing an additional 200 attractiveness rating. Nothing else offers there. I really think that's the lesser of the two, but that's only providing a hotel, that's only providing an airport attractiveness income. That's not providing anything that's beneficial for you as the player. Granted, that does make the airport more appealing, but at the same time, I think that's really a deteriorating one. One that doesn't really have much value in it. Maybe good at the very start of building your airport, but not good in the long run. This is something that's also really interesting. Having the airport headquarters to have your own custom airline. You'll have your own airline that you can go ahead and set up that would operate based out of your airport. Now, this does bring into the question, will you be able to have local air travel between your different airports? My assumption is that would be the high case right then and there. But there's nothing that we can really use to prove that, at least not yet. And I think that was the last point he made. So let's go and take a look at the actual dev diary here. Dev diary for number 2 briefly touches bases on how airport progression goes in between. Now, I like this scale right here. It actually gives a scale as to the regular airport and the local airport. Now, let's see. Airport level 1 airport is comparable to the base game airport. It's a basic connection to the outside world, but with a lot more flexibility in terms of layout. It consists of a terminal, at least one plane stand, and runway and connecting taxiway. So in this case, though, you're able to go and have 3 stands instead because you're able to go and create it a little bit better. But this is from a pre-generated model from the base game, whereas this is a little bit more of a configurable model than anything else. This is also with the minimum length right here. Decorative buildings are available and needed for the airport to level up, unlock large planes, and more buildings and additional connections to the city. That's perfectly fine. I do like that, where they bring in airport progression. It does allow you to go and have a sense of what would the word used that I would use to describe that? I guess it would be a sense of progression. I guess, yeah, it's going to be a common word in this video. Progression in essentiality. So level 2 airports then will be able to go and have service. You need a service 500 for it to level up again, or service 500 and service and have an attractive score of 200 to go and get to level 2. That's perfectly fine. You'll be able to place down more buildings, more decoration types. Medium planes you'll also be able to get, which can carry more passengers. That's pretty good because that also means more tourists and a higher threshold for you to go and level up next. Level 3, that's an interesting one. Level 3 is 5,000 passengers. A part of me wants to say that's a little bit low, but at the same time, how many passengers really come in via air? If you take into the essential factor that City Skylines bases their generation of passengers and the generation of planes based off of where they actually spawn at the edge of the map. So the passengers will actually spawn first and then the vehicle. If they spawn near an actual entryway into the city that is via air, they will go ahead and come in via an airplane. That's really a cool thing to make. However, let's say, for instance, your city is mostly based off of the concept of having a airport that is built and functioning on the premise of, oh, I don't know, you always having an airline connection. I think that that number right there should be higher in those cases, but at the same time, I don't see them really changing that per like map or anything else based off of how it's created. I don't see them doing that. This is just a well-established airport that they actually had pre-generated, which actually looks pretty decent up against the highway right here. Granted, the terminals that they got right over here look a little bit out of place in my opinion, but I guess that's something that could be easily fixed if you want to do it yourself. Linked to the city by having an airport bus station. You can also have double-decker buses and articulated airport buses. This is something that we actually saw in the screenshots that I reviewed in the last week video. I do like this. I like this a lot. This is something that's going to be interesting. Making them ideal for busy routes headed into the city. So the double-decker buses have passengers. Articulated buses will have 50 passenger capacity. If I recall correctly, electric buses and regular buses, they both have 30 passenger limits. Having the articulated buses then have 50 passengers and double-decker buses have 60. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Granted, this does also cater to the fact that, one, you possibly could go ahead and connect your airport bus station to a tourist bus line as well. If you have the Park Life DLC, I believe you would have the tourist bus depot, and that also has the capacity for double-decker buses as well, but those are tourist-only buses, and those are like special type buses that you can use to offer connections to, like, I don't know, like maybe your amusement park or maybe to your zoo, something like that, that passengers would want to go to. Right here, we then have the mention of the metro station and concourse hubs, where these will go ahead and provide a connection directly via like an airport express with, oh, I totally glanced over this without even realizing. Keeping with the theme, we added an airport express metro. Ooh, okay. Okay, cities. Okay, Paradox. Okay, Colossal. You're on my good list this year. Keep it up because you might go on the bad list, but right now they're on my good list because having a new type of airport express metro. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And having a new airport express train. This is the first time that we're having new versions of these two types of vehicles based off of the vanilla vehicles. Granted, the Sunset's Harbor DLC did go ahead and prelude that they are allowing metros to go above ground. That's perfectly fine. But that was because, one, they didn't have like a above ground model ready for the metros to use. Now they do, since that Sunset Harbor DLC, but that was based off of like reimagining the metro system is what it essentially is. Then this comes around. We needed something like this, I would have to say. We needed a new airport express station, both for train and for metro. And I do love how they have the different variants of the trains between the two. I like that a lot. I think that's just going to be my favorite thing to mess with. What's when the airport's DLC does become available. And then that's pretty much the end of the dev diary right there. I'm already impressed. Very impressed. They are on my good list this year. Having the airport express train along with the airport train station, and then the airport express metro along with the airport, an elevated airport metro station, large terminals, concourse hubs, all of it. I love that. The articulated airport buses and double-decker buses, I love that as well. But I think that we're just essentially getting a whole bunch of good stuff out of this. This is like an expansion to the mass transit DLC, so I think that if you were to pair this DLC off with any of the others, it would be good to have it paired off with the Park Life DLC, so that way you have the different types of tourist-based attractions for like your amusement park, for your zoo, for your city park, and even for your nature reserve. And then you will also be able to have the tourist buses, which are the double-decker buses that I believe have what was it, 45 or 30 capacity? Something I'm not 100% certain. If I take a look here, let me just take a look. Is there like a where's travel card? No, that's actually just that. There hasn't been any. I don't think there's been any updates. Oh, they actually already have. The dev diaries are currently. They have not actually included them in the wiki page yet. I was gonna say maybe they actually already have the stuff up on the wiki page, but they don't. I'm thankful that they don't, because it's not spoiling any content if people haven't actually watched the dev diary or the tutorials. So with that said, I like what I've seen so far. If you guys have liked it as well, go in and take a look at the dev diary link that I'll leave in below, and I'll also leave the link to the tutorial video below. I really do like what I'm seeing here. This is giving me good vibes. I'm liking that. I'm surprised that I didn't see that inside of the actual like tutorial video. If I take a look back here, yeah, they don't use the new airport buses or airport trains or airport metros. They don't use them. They don't have them included at all. My guess is that they're going to cover that in the city airline video, which, to be fair, I think that does make sense for them to do that, because that's covering basically transportation options to and from the airport. I don't know. It's just, I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, I think that will do it for this video. If you guys did like this video, then definitely go and hit the like button. To make sure to take a look at the descriptions down below, so that way you can go and take a look at the dev diaries and the tutorial video. But I think what we're going to have to wait on now is waiting on the third dev diary to go over the next of what's up. Anyway, I will check you guys for the next one. For those who are actually subscribed to my channel and are following along with my Sim Airport series, please do not be alarmed that there wasn't one posted this morning. It will be posted later today. I will have it up for you guys shortly. Okay? Aside from that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and ciao for now.